The Human Torch in the Arctic. A man made entirely out of flames in a location made entirely out of ice. Which isn't as strange as you think. Today on Comicology. So I cannot imagine a more dangerous location for the torch to be, but actually in this issue, it doesn't really affect him much at all. Actually, if anything, he really dominates in this location. You would think that it would be really hard for him to maintain his flames in a location made entirely out of ice, but actually it seems the opposite is true. He doesn't really have any problem maintaining his flames. And so the Human Torch is pretty much unaffected by the ice. And in this issue, he will hunt criminals in the Arctic. As I said before, the Human Torch visits some really strange places on his way to becoming like a true hero. And this is one of those places. The story begins in the home of Torch's ally, the man named Johnson, who you may remember from previous issues. They're listening on a ham radio when suddenly an SOS comes in over the radio waves. Apparently, a blizzard has cut off all passage to a small island known as Orton, and the citizens there are in desperate need of supplies. Immediately, the Torch makes the heroic decision to rescue the islanders, so him and Johnson head to the airport, but discover that all the planes have been grounded due to the severe blizzard. So instead of being rational, they decide to knock out the superintendent and steal one of the planes. First of all, I can't believe the Torch just did that. He just knocks this guy out and takes the plane. Second of all, why did he just steal a plane when the Human Torch can fly? Meanwhile, back in Orton, we see the town jail is harboring a criminal known only as Blake. This man takes advantage of the blizzard to knock out a guard and make his escape. Blake then breaks out his partner in crime, and together they clear out the entire police station before heading out into the snowy wilderness. So then the Torch's rescue plans get caught in the blizzard, and he has to make a crash landing. Blake and his goon take notice of this and decide to rob the supplies from the plane's wreckage because they think it'll all be worth a fortune. I'm going to point out the irony here of the Torch stealing a plane in a blizzard, which has been grounded because of a blizzard, and then ending up crash landing in that blizzard. Immediately, the Torch is able to recover from the crash and he pulls Johnson out of the wreck, but they notice that all the supplies are missing, and so they conclude that they must have been stolen. Together, they embark to find them. They discover a Coast Guard vessel stuck in some frozen water, and so they decide to help out. The Torch uses his tremendous heat to guide the ship back to shore, and the guardsmen are very grateful. Then, suddenly out of nowhere, Blake flies in on a plane and bombs the Coast Guard ship. The ship is destroyed, but the Torch manages to take down Blake's plane with one very well-aimed fireball. Where did Blake get this plane? Where did he find it? Don't these people know that there's a blizzard going on? You can't fly in a blizzard. The Torch jumps after the crooks, but they get away using a set of conveniently placed skis. He chases after them, but falls into an iceberg which he accidentally melts with his heat. This turns out to be quite lucky, however, as the Torch stumbles onto an old abandoned iron mine and uses his superheated powers. He starts an avalanche of iron ore, which then collides with Blake's secret hideout. Blake and his goons do their best to escape, but the Torch builds a ring of fire around their sled and forces it to travel back into town where the sheriff is waiting. Then the story ends on a pleasant note, with the sheriff taking Blake into custody as well as finding the supplies hitched on his sled. Once again, the day is saved by the Human Torch. This was a good issue. The real winning aspect to this issue is just watching the Torch do his whole fire thing in the middle of a freaking blizzard. You think it would be deadly to a man made on fire, but no, it's actually really entertaining. We get to sit there and watch him melt all this ice as he goes along, and it's really pretty funny. It's really interesting. Very, very entertaining stuff. And that's all I really have to say about it. Bye.